Prima Practica versus Seconda Practica by Amber Comer. There are several terms that refer to Prima Practica, including stile antica, or Old Style, and contrapunto osservato, strict counterpoint, as well as to Seconda Practica, including stile moderno, modern style, and contrapunto comune, freer modern style. Palestrina is the main composer associated with Prima Practica, while Monteverdi is the composer associated with Seconda Practica. Our textbook definition of Prima Practica is Claudio Monteverdi's term for the style and practice of 16th century polyphony, as in contradistinction between Seconda Practica, which our textbook defines as Monteverdi's term for a practice of counterpoint and composition that allows the rules of 16th century counterpoint rules of Prima Practica to be broken in order to express the feelings of a text. In the words of Zhenyun Chen, of primary importance is a recognition that no absolute boundary existed between Antico and Moderno categories. One therefore cannot neatly separate 18th century works into these two style groups. They often overlapped. The terms first and second practice arose during the controversy between Claudio Monteverdi and Giovanni Maria Artusi in the early 17th century about the new style of composition and, in particular, about the treatment of dissonance. Artusi was an Italian theorist and composer. He was a controversial defender of the theories of his conservative teacher Zarlino, who codified the rules of Prima Practica. His first important theoretical work, in 1589, is the earliest published book devoted to the use of dissonances. He is rightly famous, though unjustly maligned, for criticizing in his L'Artusi, ovvero delle imperfezioni della moderna musica, in 1600, for criticizing certain contrapuntal licenses taken by an unnamed composer who was later identified as Monteverdi, in 4 as yet unpublished madrigals. The term Seconda Practica occurs in reference to the practice of rising after a flattened note and descending after a sharp note. Artusi criticized this and other melodic licenses, as well as the free introduction of dissonance. In 1605, 5 years later, Monteverdi replied briefly to this public attack, promising to defend his new practices by considerations based on reason and the senses. Giulio Cesare Monteverdi, who was Claudio's brother, stated that in Prima Practica the paramount consideration should be the harmony, whereas in Seconda Practica it should be the text. This obeys the precept of Plato, who proclaimed that in a song, the harmony and rhythm should follow the words. Giulio Cesare interpreted these words to mean that counterpoint and rhythm should be subordinated to the text. Thus, if the text demands dissonance or irregular rhythm, it should be justified for the sake of expressing the meaning and rhythm of the text.
Cesare then went on to name who he thought were the masters of Prima Practica, including Ockeghem, Josquin, Pierre de la Rue, Jean Mouton, Créquylon, Clemencenon Papa, Gombert, and Adrian Willert. Masters of Seconda Practica, according to Cesare, included Cipriano de Rore Gesualdo, Emilio de Cavalieri, Fontanelli, Conte da Camerata, possibly referring to Bardi or Girolamo Branciforte, Giovanni del Turco, Tommaso Pecci, Ingegneri, Marenzio, Wirt, Luzacci, Jacopo Peri, and Giulio Caccini. In a discorso of 1608, Artusi answered the Monteverdi brothers point for point. The debate has tended to overshadow other important theoretical and practical matters discussed in L'Artusi. Some people compared the two styles side by side, while others, like the Monteverdi brothers, implied that they thought of second practice as replacing first practice, even though a number of Monteverdi's sacred works are written according to the rules of Prima Practica. In 1649, Marco Scacchi pointed out that unlike the composers of musica antica, who had available only one practice and style, modern composers could choose between two practices, prima and seconda, and between three styles, church, chamber, or stage/theatrical.